It is Tuesday night. That means the Sick Podcast Annual Show is back. And we are back with a W this week, coming off a 3-game slide. So much to talk about. Somebody said we didn't have a quarterback, but then a lot of people said, well, give the kid a chance. And oh, did we? But more to come. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, baby, it's going to be sick. But before we get into this show, let's go ahead and pay a word to our sponsor, Sammy, please. The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, and an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tournament, culminating in the NBA Cup championship in Vegas. First time? Here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SICKSPORTS. That's SICKSPORTS. That's code SICKSPORTS. For new customers, get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Yes, sir. And here are the boys. Let's officially start our show. That is the official sound of the anvil, and your Sick Podcast show has begun. Fellas, how do you feel tonight?
A billion times better.
How about that response? The hell was that?
Hey, I'm loving it, and we're
Like
gonna get all
McDonald's,
the
huh?
reasons why. You damn straight. Hey, by the way, I just want to point out this is uncoordinated, but we're all wearing gray shirts for no particular reason.
Oh yeah, I'm showing. Shout out my old school squad, man. I pulled this out of the vintage pile. This is the Indie Boys, my first official Colts podcast with my boy Joey and my little bro that I grew up with, Charles Quincy Knott. Yeah, I just wanted to show them some homage, man. But yeah, so yeah, we do all have on gray. Oh, homage, too early for homage. And that's Thursday. Yeah, pay homage to homage. I like what you did there, Sammy. Pretty solid. Boy, they gonna find a way to make that money. Make that money for us. But okay, man, here's the deal. We have a quarterback, and I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if it was only one game and it was against the 3-7 Jets, and throw in any other crazy notion you want to. Anthony Richardson, 20 for 30, 66.7% completion, 272 yards, 1 touchdown by air, 32 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and poise. Plays when they needed to be made. Confidence, the ability to throw every pass on the field. No handcuffs, if you will. 2 fumbles, lost 1, recovered 1, whatever. But the kid showed, I am here. I'm an NFL player. And for all the haters, that was your first taste of what we believe can be something special. Open the door. How do we feel?
I mean, I feel like it was good to go into hostile territory and just like enforce your will, like on a team that we were told was going to be somebody like a defense. Like even prior to the season, the Jets were one of the teams that were unanimously supposed to be contenders. And I don't care like what's going on with the team. this was AR coming in. And I mean, I know we don't talk stats a lot, but we're talking about AR coming in, throwing 66%, throwing over 250, throwing a touchdown without throwing an interception, and then running in for 2. Like, every single place that he had stats is exactly what we were expecting from him coming out, because the athleticism, because of the arm talent, the leg talent, like everything that he's able to do, he was able to put on display against his team. And people are trying to minimize it by saying, oh, the Jets are a bad team. That defense isn't bad.
They're still 7th in the league.
They're 7th. You're like, they have the 7th
in defending the pass.
Exactly. And I mean, I think they've allowed the 2nd least of passing yards per game. At 168, and AR went through for 272.
Yeah, solid.
It was a hell of a performance, and I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed. It's not something where I'm just going to be like, oh yeah, give AR the $60 million a year right now because we need to sign him. But the thing is, this is something that showed through for the haters that said, oh, he's never thrown over 50%. Now you have to move the goalposts and say, well, he hasn't been able to do that consistently. It's just like, bro, like listen,
gotta start somewhere.
We saw what he was able to do, and honestly, it's just like I'm hella proud of him, especially when it came to the fact that he wasn't supposed to rebound from being benched for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
he was just supposed to go into this game, look like he lost confidence, and look like it was done for. And he came out and had the best performance of his career.
And he didn't put one pass in harm's way. Like, I mean, he early on that first drive, I believe it was, they had that little short pass play to the tight end, Granson, and he threw it a little high. And you could see, like, he instantly was kind of like, shit, I missed that. That's on me. But every other pass, I mean, the one that Pittman dropped when it went right through his hands, like, was a laser. But when I looked at the pass, I was like, oh, Pittman should have had that. That wasn't a bad pass.
Yep.
Like, he didn't have to adjust much to do that. So that was the improvement that we had talked about before this game. Like, I had seen small strides of him, like, not airmailing passes, not necessarily putting them in harm's way. But there's so much more to talk about. Pat, how do you feel before we get into all the things we're going to break down?
I got my excitement back, gentlemen.
Excellent.
Absolutely 100% got my excitement back.
You do a little dance on Sunday or what?
Pretty much. And it was an away game and nobody was at the house because I don't dance worth shit.
Oh, good.
But, I bitched from the beginning of the benching that they took my excitement away. Well, they gave me my excitement back. You mentioned the fumbles. That even still excited me. Him making mistakes actually excites me. Okay.
Weird flex, but go carry on.
Very weird flex because we're all grown men here. We're a little bit longer in the tooth than he is. We know a champion gets better from his mistakes. A champion will learn from his mistakes.
I see.
A championship caliber coaching staff will point some things out to him and help him understand that even better. And I believe we have all that. But he had to be on the field to mess up so you can correct it so we can keep moving and growing.
Yeah.
This pick was never about win now. This pick was about grow now, win later.
Yeah, but we did put our foot in our mouths. Not us necessarily, but the organization when they said, hey, we're winning now. You're right. You're right, 100%. Not debating that. But then I think that narrative switched fast.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think a lot of that switch was because of the behind the scenes that we didn't really understand at the time.
Gotcha.
So, but
Fair
just
enough.
to answer your question, and I won't bleed into too much of the show, but my excitement's back. This team is hitting, and
it's Detroit week. It's Lions week.
We're going to be competitive.
Okay.
With this boost that AR just gave us against the Jets, everybody's going to be fired up, saying, "Okay, we could beat these guys."
Sean, you are exactly right. It was definitely exciting. I hadn't been that excited watching the Colts football game. Honestly, probably since last year sometime. Even starting out this year. I mean, his play in week 1, the big pass, that was pretty solid. But I think last year the Rams game, though we lost, was probably the last time I was like, yo, like win or lose, that game was exciting to watch. I hadn't felt that in a
It was
long
a
time.
damn good game.
Hey, everybody is, Pat. So every now and then I feel like Clyde agrees with the talking heads, and maybe I say something that the talking heads may hear. I doubt it, but I'm gonna like take that credit. But anyway, Sammy, let's cue up Dan Orlovsky, please.
Best game of Anthony Richardson's career. The first play of the game said a lot to me. They called that designed quarterback run. Just gets him into the game. I've sat with so many different coaches who've had athletic quarterbacks, and they make it a point to understand, to get athletes like that kind of feeling the game, get them hit. And I think Anthony's one of those guys. So I loved that they did that with Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson. He threw the ball over the middle of the field fantastically. Yes. I think the trust in his eyes, and that kind of told me he's not worried about getting benched or making mistakes. The throw to Josh Downs earlier in the football game was a big deal. I just think he was so much more convicted with what he was looking at. And in RC, his feet were so much calmer in the pocket in comparison to maybe the start of the season.
Now, the reason why that clip resonated with me is because for weeks now, whether I'm talking in groups, whether I'm talking just amongst, people talking football in an airport, or I'm talking with my boys here on the panel, or wherever we may be, I have continuously said, despite the injury, despite the fear of injuries because of his history, one thing about this quarterback is you have to make him a football player. And I think that this week, though there were still some questionable calls by Shane, some weird moments of the game at times, like, why did we call that? Why are we running this? The run isn't working, blah, 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 whatever. To start the game, not giving AR in the first 2 to 3 drives, a 1 for 8, completion, percentage at that time. Or I'm sorry, a 1 for 8, completion clip or something like that, like he had been starting when he was starting previously. He made him a football player. Let's run him. Let's let him get hit. Let's let him feel the game. Okay, he's done that. Let's settle down now. Let's let him get his feet right. Let's make some solid passes. Let's go back to the run. Let's get JT in it. And it made him so much more comfortable in my eyes. Yeah. And that's what I've been calling for, because we know that he was limited on being a pocket passer. We know he played in a spread open offense. We know that he had to learn how to read progressions, this and that. And I think Shane was like force feeding, we're going to pass, we're going to pass, we're going to pass. And I was like, I know your theory is pass the score, run the win, but you got to let this quarterback play within his comfortability first. And I think, okay, because he only rushed, 8 times? 10? 8.
I don't even know the stats on that.
I feel like he only rushed 8 times. I could be wrong. It's anywhere between 8 and 12. But the moral of the story,
I believe it was. I think it was 8.
8. I think it was 8, between 8 and 12. But the moral of the story is he didn't need to run the ball like, let's say a Lamar Jackson per se in his first couple of years where he was getting upwards of 20 totes. But he needed to feel how the game felt. He needed to hit people. People needed to hit him. He needed to show himself like, all right, I'm playing football again. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't been getting a lot of reps in practice, so I'm here. And I think it made a difference. Boys, what do you guys think? Do you think that made a difference on the outcome of how he played for the entirety of the game?
Absolutely. He's one of those physical athletes. Andrew Luck was the same way. Andrew Luck would come out and say, hey, the game don't start until I take a big hit. Now we can play some football.
Yeah.
And that reminds me a lot of Anthony. And there's just some players, they want to feel that. They want to get that blood pumping. They want to, the adrenaline going, all that stuff. And now they're ready to play.
Yeah, deliver the hit instead of getting hit, right? Like, it's much different when you deliver that hit versus, oh, shit, I got smashed. Wait, I'm playing football. It's Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? To me, with Anthony Richardson, he's kind of like, and I don't know if it is the same for y'all, but like growing up, like when you're a kid, you play around other kids like your age and your size, and there's that one kid that's a little bit bigger than everybody else. And the thing is, at first, it's just like this kid it's almost like they're unaware of the fact that they're bigger than everybody, but they're just like, hey, I'm just going to play the way everybody else is playing.
Facts.
And it's not until they really realize just like how much they're capable of that they actually go out there and be like, oh, so I can actually play way crazier than they're doing. And that's what you're dealing with AR. Like he is in essence a big kid that is realizing just where he stands and what he can do with what he has in terms of physical capabilities, in terms of like the athleticism, everything that he's doing. And maybe, this benching over the last 2 weeks was the way to make sure that the work ethic and the dedication was matching up with everything that we know that he is in terms of that physicality and what he's capable of. Because I mean, you could be athletic as ever. You can do a backflip from one end zone to the other. But the thing is, if you aren't sound, physically as well as mentally, then that means that something's going to be off. And it looks like that's kind of what he needed to kind of get there. Because I think even after the Mo Alley Cox, the 2-point conversion miss.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that miss.
He basically like, before it would just be like, damn, like, okay, we're just going to have to figure it out. But that one, he's just like, I wish I could get that back. But then he also has that thing where drive to drive, he has that reset. So I think it's just like now it's just like everything's able to be connected.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that, because we talked about this in many podcasts on my old show and early on in this day. Is like the one thing that was different between Luck and Manning is I feel like Luck had that way more than Manning. Manning would think about a mistake, especially like New England games. And it was like, damn, he never recovered from that interception in the first quarter. Like he just never. Andrew Luck go out and throw 3 picks on 3 possessions, and you'd be like, ooh, and then you'd be like, yeah, we still got a chance. And Andrew throws a game-winning touchdown, and you forget about the 3 picks.
The playoff game versus the Chiefs.
Exactly. And I feel like Anthony Richardson, I mean, in a 10 for 32 game against Houston, atrocious numbers, but he was still playing up until the last snap. Right? Like, hey, look, we still got a chance despite being 10 for 32. So I do see that a lot in him. And one thing that I think we misspoke on a couple weeks ago is like, I think we thought Dalton Tucker was not a rookie. We have 3 rookies starting. So I remember we talked about that. I was like, is Dalton Tucker a rookie? I think we said he was second year. At least I did. I know for sure. But yeah,
technically he is a rookie. He's been around for a little while.
Oh, okay. So it's like seeing how the line played, and we know we struggled in the running game. Jonathan Taylor did not have the greatest of days, and AR had pressure on him, and he made some amazing throws under pressure. But no, despite whatever was there in front of him, none of that made him play outside of how he was going to play that day, which was great. Seeing a young quarterback adapt to, hey man, there's 3 rooks on the offensive line right now, and every now and then somebody's getting free. Every now and then a play is getting blown up, whatever. Like, how do you play through that? No excuses. Let's figure it out. He figured it out all freaking day, man. And like, I think it started because the play calling was designed to make him a football player first. And you've seen the respect that they had to show. Ask any DB about, like you were saying in your analogy, there's that one kid bigger than anybody. Every DB that had a chance that hit him, probably like, hey man, I don't know what I got to do to not have to do that again, but let's make sure the front 7, let's do your job a little bit better, because 5 coming around the corner ain't something I'm trying to see.
Every single time it looked like he got in their sauce. It's just like, it's literally like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that one kid from that soundboard clip. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we not
just be
that.
like, yeah, he made a lot of business decisions that day. None of them were to tackle anybody.
Sauce's swag would not allow him to be a viral highlight. Like, he's like, I'd rather just blow this play if I'm supposed to make the tackle than be the guy getting truck stick into the game, or sorry, into the end zone for the game.
Folded up backwards.
Yeah, 35. I don't even know who that is, but poor 35. Boy, did he get ran over? Oh man, that was crazy work.
and he was the highlight. Matter of fact, I think Kyle Brandt from NFL Network, he mentioned because AR got the angry runs. He got the angry run scepter for this week, they just kept on playing that over and over again. And my man, he's become a meme. He's become a meme. It's nasty work on his behalf, because AR
Yeah,
he lowered the shoulder,
and I love that, and I love it not because. So here's the deal, right? I feel like as a football player, you have to play the game and play every play like a football player, because when you start thinking about, oh man, this is the play I might get hurt, or oh, you know what, we're going to sit them before the playoffs start, even though we got everything locked up, we don't want to get anybody hurt. When you let that get in your mind, I think the injuries find you. We know the shoulder that he actually led with was the bad shoulder, if you will. Got up, did his little dance, do whatever,
little TikTok dance,
and I was like, because initially I can't even lie, I can't even cap. I was like, oh shit. I was like, the way it sounded. I mean, the TV, like, you know, I got the sound. I was like, oh, that sounded ooh-wee. Like something over there ain't right. But man, he got up. He was like, yo, bro, I'm good. We a football player. And even JT would say, like, I don't like to watch that. But hey, when he do it, it's dope. But you know, I'm not a big fan of it because they don't want to get him hurt. And I get that.
Hey, we got a request that you do that dance again.
I don't even know. He just pushed his head. He was like, he did like a head thing, and I don't know.
It's this. I don't know if you've seen, but there's this dude that he's kind of like shaped funny, but he does all this craziness. It's called the Shamar. When you get off, you can go on TikTok and look up the Shamar. Yeah, you know
that what it is.
Yes,
that's Omaha. That shit.
Yeah.
Omaha!
And with that, let's hear from the man himself. Sammy, cue up AR.
I don't know if it's any reward to me, but you know, I just hope my teammates see that I'm willing to do anything for them. You know, I'm willing to put my body on the line and go sacrifice anything out there on the field for them. You know, but I definitely just appreciate them just for trusting me and just believing in me throughout the whole process, you know, regardless of what was going on. You know, just shout out to Coach Nation, man. I just appreciate all the support.
Okay. So, Patrick, I know how you feel, and I'm going to let you do your thing on this. But first, I'm going to say this. Because his last thing was shout out to Colts Nation. I appreciate y'all. There's some Colts Nation people that still don't quite appreciate him. Yeah, unless you're not trying to pay attention, pay attention. I don't know. I don't want to make it nothing more about anything other than what it is. It's just
football. I'm about to make it more.
But people have been saying some crazy stuff.
Jump in on my segment.
I'm just saying, like it's your segment, but I had to put that out there because there's still a lot of fans. Yeah, Birdman. There's still a lot of fans that ain't giving it love. But Pat, go ahead, do your thing.
And to those fans, suck it.
Oh man,
Omaha!
What I just tell you? Be better, Pat.
Not on this one.
You have to be better.
No, not on this one.
Last week, Pat, you got to be better.
What? It wasn't
go.
Anything we're gonna get Sammy in trouble for.
You might go.
Anyways, this is what happens when you are a armchair quarterback that really doesn't understand how to grow these professional athletes. Everybody, I'm not saying everybody, but there's a good amount of people that was ready to write him off.
Yeah.
Oh, trade deadline. Let's get rid of him. We'll start over. We'll do this. Yeah.
Flacco time.
Yeah, you heard me. Yeah, there is no thing called Flacco time anymore. It's over. Okay. We got our quarterback.
Good job,
He's still young. He's still going to screw up. He's still going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the excitement of watching this young man grow to be the professional you want him to be. Because that statement that he made in that press conference after the game tells you he is ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's about winning, and he's about this team. He didn't care. He didn't answer any other questions about the 2 touchdowns he had, the 270-something yards he threw, the 700-pound linebacker he shucked off his back and still dropped one right in Josh Downs' arms. He didn't talk about what he did. He talked about, as long as my team knows I am willing and able to do everything I can for this team and my teammates. That right there tells you he's a winner. That right there tells you, shut your mouth about the growing pains. Shut your mouth about trading him. Shut your mouth about who you think he isn't.
Yeah.
People still talking about the tap out, man. Like people still up in arms about that. Like like it
Good.
happened last night.
Because if they're still talking about that kind of stupid stuff, those are the people you don't want to listen to.
Big facts.
They're giving you the biggest red flag. Delete them, block them, do whatever, because they're talking out their ass.
I mean,
Because
that's fair.
that's the only language they can speak.
That's fair, but they are no different than you and I. They're a fan on a different side of the fence, and we have been spoiled with a lot of great quarterback play for almost 20 years, and then this 6-year lull period of I don't know what to do with my life. Who knows who the Indianapolis Colts are going to trot out for quarterback? Like, that's where they have lived. I'm not giving anybody a pass. I do believe that a lot of folks, have their own reasons and they're driven to say what they're going to say no matter what. Like, I was having this back and forth with a guy, and I'll keep names, names. We don't even have to say them, but I'm like, he's going to say, oh, you're just going to forget the 2 fumbles. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, 2 fumbles, 1 that was recovered, 1 was lost. Cool. Got it. But what are you really getting at? Because you're just throwing anything, hoping that it sticks. Like you want to just mark him in any kind of negative way. I'm not saying forget it like it didn't happen, but are we talking about 2 fumbles and it lost the game? Or are we talking about, he made some mistakes and he still had a hell of a performance and won the game? Which side are you on?
Well,
right?
you gotta.
I really thought you was gonna go. I Allerson right there.
Talking about practice?
Are we talking about?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, shit. Talking about fumbles. We talking about fumbles right now. We really talking about? No, I'm just playing.
But you know what? But the crazy thing is, like, that's the talking points for people who are trying to find something. Like I had a legitimate argument with somebody, and I said this on Twitter. Dude was just like, weeks ago, dude was just like, AR's never thrown 50%. And then I showed him throwing 50% more than once this season. He just like, he's never thrown over 50%. And then I was just like, it was like, I told him, I was just like, all right, he just threw 66%. I was just like, so then at that point, and the thing is, if you really want to know who you're dealing with, you can be very simple. If somebody's going to try to go ahead and just pick at this game, ask them based on the stat line, and you could just say based on the stat line, did AR have a good game? Because I'll tell you this much. We saw another game. We saw the Chiefs get beat by the Bills. And everybody was talking about that Josh Allen's him. Josh Allen's this, Josh Allen's that. Now, I'm not saying that he's better than, but I'm saying that Josh Allen had a better stat line. And a lot of those people who are sitting there trying to go ahead and just pick at AR's performance, they were saying that Josh Allen had a pretty good performance versus the Chiefs when literally they were almost identical. So I'm going to tell you this. If you can't say unequivocally that AR had a good game versus this Jets defense, where he was able to throw for 66% in the touchdown with no interceptions, with a 106 QB rating, and that's not a good performance, but Josh Allen had a great performance versus the Chiefs, then I'm going to tell you right now, not only are you biased, but you're weird as hell. Just going to say it.
Kind of odd. Kind of
And,
odd.
and look, I'm going to pull back my anger a little bit with these guys, because I do believe you can have your own opinion and we can speak on it. But when your own opinion is nothing but negative, you have nothing to come back. You just bash. Those are the jackasses I won't speak to. Because they just remind me of that one radio show guy, that Dan guy. I'm not going to give him credit for shit. But that's all he does. He can't say, okay, hey, this happened and it was bad. The fumbles were bad. But look what he did the next play. He recovered his own fumble, and the next play he came out and, he dropped a dime to Michael Pittman, got the first down with a 300-pound linebacker on his back. Give me something. Don't just bash. If you just want to be negative and bash, you're not worth my time. Now, if you want to have an actual conversation about the good and the bad, let's have those conversations. Absolutely. But if you just want to bash, you're no better than Dano.
I tell you what, man. Look here, bro. I don't know what it is, but I feel like everybody has this notion that they have to follow what everybody else is saying. It's not a lot of identity. So I'm listening to people that are actually well revered ex football players, Tiki Barber, McCourty, and they're calling our game, and I'm like, this is the most ridiculous, biased type presentation I've ever heard, because they're like, oh yeah, you could tell here that the Colts don't really want to put him in any bad spots. And I mean, on a 3rd and long, he just fumbled the ball and picked the ball. I mean, what are they going to call here? He drops a dime. It's 3rd and 16. He throws for 18 yards. I'm like, oh, say what now? What happened? Because he's supposed to just run a draw, right? Like you said he was, Tiki. No, he did not run a draw. He threw a laser. That drive continued. We got points. Later in the game, they kept saying, oh, young quarterback, you don't want to put him in anything. And then, oh, he only just dropped dimes and go down there and win the game. I'm like, at what point do you, as a analyst that works for a national broadcast, say, I don't care what everybody's saying within my organization. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to do nothing to hurt our brand. I don't have to, back talk or say something crazy that's going to get me fired, but I don't have to just be walking in line like, oh, are we bashing Anthony Richardson this week? Okay, me too.
Yeah,
I got the game. I'll make sure I started. Like, it's crazy, man.
You don't have to be a sheep.
Yeah, you don't.
It's crazy.
And we all know that Tiki Barber had yet to recover from the fact that he retired a year before the Giants won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Sammy, I want you to clip this part where Clyde's bashing Tiki and tag him and
oh my God, wait a minute. That's harsh, bro. That's harsh, Chris. And we love that your mind is so quick like that.
It's literally like my man, he went and he bashed Eli, and then Eli went into the Super Bowl in all his glory, and
awesome.
Tiki had nothing to say. And then Tiki continued to bash him, and then Eli got another Super Bowl years later. That man is still sitting there eating crow, trying to figure out how he's supposed to be this sports cat. But bro,
he said some silly shit.
Hey, I should get an honorary ring.
Nah, yeah, you're not Romo. You're not good, sir.
Damar or whatever his name is. They ain't doing that. But no, you just listening to that type of stuff. Like, and it's crazy because like what really gets me is when it's been, other quarterbacks. Like we talked about Cam Newton a couple weeks ago. Like, Cam, dude, you were never somebody that completed at a 60% clip in your whole career. Maybe like one season. Your whole career average is like 56, 57%.
MVP season, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, but even still, as a complete battery of work, you're less than 60%. So it's like when you see another quarterback that's actually you're almost identical comparison based on attributes and size and physicality and potential and all these other things. Like, why would you like be the first one jumping on the board to axe the guy? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And so if they're supposed to be a brotherhood, they should, do a better job at talking about these young players. And I'm not saying they should be mentally weak. I'm not giving these players a pass, but I'm like, are you against me or are you with me? Because y'all supposed to be unbiased, right? Like, you're not up there. I mean, I get it. If you play for this team, yeah, you're doing that game. Okay, cool. Let's give a little, home team advantage call, if you will. Fine. But you're not supposed to be out here like itemizing players as terrible or this and that. Like, and I just see too much of that. And there used to be a couple guys that actually had personality to do it. The Steve Smiths, he would be pretty critical. Michael Irvin has been pretty critical at times, but like those are unique personalities. Dudes like McCourty, shut up, bro. You don't even have personality. Like they don't even know which one you are. Are you your brother or is he your brother? You like relax. Anyway, let's hear from a teammate. Let's see what teammates got to say about AR. Sammy, please cue up Alec Pierce.
Like, why do you all believe in AR? I mean, you all were saying this when he was benched, when he was injured. Like, why continue to believe in him?
He's just, he's 22 years old. You got to give the guy time to kind of get his feet wet in the league. And, last year he didn't play that many games. So, like, really this year is almost like his rookie year. So, we just got belief in just so much talent, and there's definitely, like, you just see flashes of greatness. So, that's why I think we all believe in him, and we see like he can do things. He took us on a game-winning drive right there. So like it's definitely like we just gotta put it all together, and he's getting closer.
Chris,
yeah,
you hear Alex finish with got to put it all together, and he's getting close to that. But leading into that, one thing that AR said in his interview, which we didn't play, is like we finally played complimentary football. on both sides, all three phases actually. And so with that, leading into that, right? Like we'll just start this segment with, so he lost the locker room. Chris.
So thank you for that segue, by the way. So I'm just gonna stretch real quick because I need to get this out the way. If you're watching this or if you hear this, send this to your favorite commentator. Send this to anybody who said AR lost the locker room. And I want you to make sure that you have me tagged at CJ Colts fan if you're going to be on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, Chris Boltzbeedman Jackson. I want to go ahead and say to the people that said he lost the locker room, you're about as dumb as you look. Okay? And the thing is, even if I haven't seen your face, I know you look stupid because I know that there's a lot of stupidity coming from the statements that you're making when you can say that a guy who, even when we heard the announcement the day that he was benched, everybody was just like, listen, we're still rocking with him. We're still good. Every single time that anybody talked about AR, other than the tap out, which, and mind you, we got to go ahead and separate that because the action and the action was the issue. The person was not. So we can go back into the fact that AR, nobody has come out and said anything negative in regards to AR. The captain sat down with him and made sure that they said, look, you just got to sacrifice. What that sacrifice means is that, you're going to have less time to do those things that you're looking to do, but you got to make sure that you're here because it's going to benefit you more to sacrifice now as opposed to hoping later on that you can sacrifice when it seems like it might be too late. So when we're looking at this, I've never, ever seen anything that said locker room cancer. And I tweeted about that. I said, there's no way in hell, mind you, Josh Downs has been caping for him since the benching happened. Right. And Josh Downs has been riding for him nonstop. And the thing is, when you see how Josh Downs plays, Josh Downs is an incredible player. But you see that it's just like that's a spark. And even what Alec Pierce alluded to. Now let's talk about, we talked about how exciting this game was. Yep. That last drive. Before that last drive, AR and Alec Pierce were on the sideline during the kickoff, and they're literally talking. I assume that they were talking about this play because the first play in the fourth, or I'm going to say on that last drive, masterful. Absolutely beautiful. Fantastic. And mind you, that's a pump fake. They knew what defense that they were running because they knew about tendencies. That's the dedication part of it. They knew what they were doing, and he throws an absolute dot to Alec Pierce.
Target.
An absolute dot. So the thing is for me, and also Alec Pierce, I apologize because I said some disparaging things. However, I see your game. I see your work.
I'm glad you respect that. I remember those disparaging things.
I did. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't need your cosign. But if we're being,
you might not need it, but you're gonna get it.
But if we're being honest, Alec Pierce, in that clip specifically, he's talking about the fact that he trusts him. He know that he's going to take some bumps. And the thing is, Alec Pierce isn't a fan. He's a guy that's practicing with him and playing with him every single Sunday.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody that's benefited from AR being on the field this season, it's been AP.
It's been AP. Got his contract for sure. Got him a contract.
I mean, I'm saying, and the thing, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here. What we see with him and Josh Downs, what we see with him and Alec Pierce, what we're seeing in terms of him being able to establish chemistry with AD Mitchell, this is how this team is going to look for the future. I think we had our first chance to kind of see the rough draft of what this offense is potentially going to look like for the next 4, 5, 6 years, assuming we're able to go ahead and just keep things together. Because even with the O-line having the rough start that they had or having the rough day that they had, for AR to still be able to complete at the clip that he did is nothing short of impressive.
Very facts, big facts. And he hit 9 receivers. We didn't say that. He hit 9 receivers.
9 of them.
Go ahead, Pat. I just want to put that out. He hit 9 receivers.
Now, I will jump in with you here, Chris. And when the benching happened, no player ever even said anything that I seen about the tap out.
Not one.
They were talking about, well, you got to do the small things, you got to do the extra things, this and that. Nobody said jack shit about the tap out except for the national people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Losing the locker room. This and
Yeah.
that. Then there was a report that the sources were saying, like, even though he's a good kid, like the work ethic isn't there. Like, and they were very clear on that. The Colts organization, like, whoa, nobody ever said that. Let's put a nix to what we're talking about amongst ourselves, because nobody ever said that. But I think they were definitely saying, to Chris's point earlier, some of your point now, Pat, is like, as when he would make a mistake, not that he was joking, like, whatever, but he was sort of like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't no, that was a big play. We should have had that one, right? Like, we're getting off the field now. We're putting the defense back on the field. Like, you need to take that more serious, more than just being in your playful banter. Like, because I forget what game it was, but there was a game where he was missing bad, but he'd just kind of like smile it off and be like, damn, my bad, bro. And you'd be like, okay, whatever. That's his personality. But like at the same time, like, hey man, we out here in a war. What I'm saying? And that was third and very makeable. And you sent that shit to the top row.
Absolutely. Be a man and own up. If it was a bad pass, hey, that's me. Sorry. Next play, I got you, dog.
He was so serious all game.
But
locked in.
If your O-line's failing you, jump their shit. Take this game more serious. Take the wins more serious. Every drive counts. Every play counts. Every point counts.
Yeah.
When that clock is on that scoreboard, it's about winning, nothing else.
And look at the small things, man. Like, and you could tell that. I remember they had a captain's meeting, right?
Yeah.
You could tell that he's picking up on traits of captains, because if you watching these games, he's being Quentin Nelson 2.0. He's rushing to pick people up after every run, every pass. That's Quentin Nelson's thing. He'll scurry up the field 15, 20 yards and help his teammate up. I'm watching Anthony Richardson do that. You already know he sprints to, the locker room before everybody and does the handshake. You already see that every game. But it's like, okay, if I'm a captain, if I'm a leader, what are these things that people are probably not going to notice unless they're paying a lot of attention, that I'm leading like a captain? Those are the things I'm seeing as a player. Like, I'm sitting there talking to my best friend. He's over here on Sunday watching the game. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, hey, we got a fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
You watching the play, but look at all his other movements. And the play that my best friend was so enamored with more than any other pass that he made was the play where he fought off the defender for like a couple yards and then just heaved it out of bounds. So we save it down, but he didn't get sacked. And he ensured that he released the ball once he left the pocket. So he's outside of the tackle box. And I was like, that's a play that's not going to get any kind of shine, any kind of credit. But look at what he's thinking about and how he's locked in this game to understand I can't, make a bad play here and lose yards, lose a down, and I can't get sacked as well. So let me just use my power and my strength. Nobody's open. I'm going to throw it out. He's like, hey, man, that's like a veteran move right there. And I'm like, those are the things that maybe 2 weeks helped him see.
My only comment on that particular play is, damn it, Anthony, next time throw it to a Colts fan.
No, not that play. That was when he just heaved it out of bounds. Not that one.
Okay.
It was another. That was right before half when he just heaved it out of bounds. I'm
talking
about.
I hated seeing those Jet fans catch that ball and get all excited about it.
Well, I mean, they are in the Jet Stadium anyway.
I know, but there's Colts fans in there, damn it.
Sir, we're asking him for accuracy on the field, and you're asking him to accurately hit somebody in 203. Like,
I want it all, baby.
Like,
I want it all.
What's happening right now?
Sammy, please bring up our Twitter handles and X feeds or whatever they call them these days. We got to get the hell out of here. You boys are crazy.
He's crazy, man.
Hit me at 246. I'm here for you. Find the one Colts guy. Oh man!
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
I feel like I'm in row 17, DE. Like what? What are we doing here? Like what?
On the X, you can find me at Colts Clyde. CJ, where can they find you?
At CJ Colts fan. Nowhere near Pat's Twitter handle because that's just weird.
And here it is.
Hey, when you two get as cool as I am, you can have a Twitter handle like mine.
Is what?
At Big P Colts, baby. Hey,
I love it. It's so unoriginal that it's awesome.
I I want to bring up the chat a little bit. Chat's been going off tonight. You guys are freaking awesome.
All right, here we go. Give me something. We got 45 seconds, 60 seconds. I'll give you 60 seconds.
All right.
Roll them, Sammy. Hey, Brittany, what she got? I'm so proud of AR. I know once he got in red zone, he would be denied. He's getting in his zone no matter what about him. He's got heart, and that's my favorite quality. Giant facts.
Boom, Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him again.
Love it. What else we got, Sammy? Just roll them. Big Aaron. I think the season, his coach's fault, started the season, so he is hindering the team. In my mind, said, "Ooh, Aaron coming with some heat. Maybe it's the beard thing, the beard goatee thing he got going on." Coming with some heat, Aaron.
The bow tee.
The bow tee. What else we got? Roll me a couple more. He has to eliminate the unnecessary hits. Goal line carries is totally different, though. Okay, Rex, so we talked about that earlier. I understand that, but we got to be a football player first. This is not a statue. We're not looking at Peyton Manning.
And they're not playing in a ball pit. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
Very physical sport at every position.
I agree wholeheartedly, Sean. All they do is repeat what other people saying because it's easier these days, honestly, to not have your own mind, your own opinion, because nobody wants to be singled out. Nobody wants to be. And what's crazy is the only ones that really get that pass are the people like, and this is no shot on him because at least he admitted it, Pat McAfee. Ever since the Flacco, I guess the second game that Flacco played, he's been like slowly like repealing. Like, let me take all that back.
I am sorry.
Yeah. And then he played last week and he was like, oh shit. Yeah, like I'm super sorry. This is my best friend right here, Marshall. I think Edwards is more McNabb than Cam. He's also a Panthers fan, so Cam Newton still hangs this high.
You see his picture?
Hey, I was about to say, hey, listen, I was going to point
Marty,
it out.
You owe me one.
I'm glad you brought it up because you know what? I don't know your best friend personally, but I can just tell he's an asshole. All right, he's like, yo,
if he's friends with Clyde, you gotta know. All
right, Sammy, give me one more before we get out of here. Give me one more. All right, what we got? They talked about how Richardson had 43% completion, 67. Sonny got to keep it up, right? And I think more than ever, and I said this before I went live, we have to continuously be in the know that this is still a young quarterback. We were definitely blown away by how he played, but we got a big test on Sunday. Got the best team coming in, hands down, in my opinion. Lions coming in, but I feel like if he plays this game, we have a fighting chance. And I'm not even going to say we're just going to lose like that. We'll talk more about that on Thursday and make predictions and all that other jazz. But yeah, man, I'm not afraid of the Lions. Why? For what? We got AR5. And with that, Sammy, take us out of here.
Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.